All right. Well, welcome everybody. My name is Stephanie Kesson from the Online Itinerant, and I am so excited to be joined today by John Miller, the co-creator of Signing Savvy and the Signing Savvy website. I'm thrilled because I happen to connect with John in a very random way, but Signing Savvy has been my go-to website for many years in terms of my ASL dictionary. And in meeting John, I have recently discovered that Signing Savvy is so much more. So I'm really excited today to be able to introduce you to Signing Savvy so that you can learn some of the how extensive the website is. And then you can meet John, ask questions, learn how it might support you, and then we can go from there. So if you are watching us live, feel free to comment, say hello, tell us where you're from, if you're familiar with Signing Savvy. And there is a little link on the top above that you can click that we can see your comments and see who you are. So go ahead and do that. And John, let's just start there. What is Signing Savvy? Can you tell us about the website?
Sure. Signing Savvy is basically a creation out of necessity. That I found as I was working my way kind of through my different careers. I started out as a teacher of the deaf, and that was, a very rewarding, great career. But it started with the little kids. I started with the preschool, younger kids. Kind of worked my way up a little bit. It was a smaller school district. And so I went through kind of middle school and then back to high school and then back down to elementary. And the one common thread that seemed to go with every age group that I was with was that parents struggled to kind of keep up with where their children were. It wasn't that they didn't have a desire to be able to communicate with them. They just couldn't keep up. Life was busy. Life was going on. And as we know, more than 90% of our deaf population, our deaf kids, are born into hearing families. So that became a struggle, and I was like, how do we fix this? And so, like many teachers, I went through and would, take sign language books, set them on the copy machine, copy, cut out the pictures, send them home, all that stuff, made all these lists of things and all those type of things to try to communicate better to my parents what we were doing in school, so that communication could continue back and forth. Sometimes it was successful, sometimes not so much. So my career just led me that I went from being a K-12 teacher to a teacher of teachers at Michigan State University. And so I was doing their deaf ed teacher training program and actually placing student teachers. And the same thread, was it didn't matter where I was throughout the state. Even some students I placed out of the state of Michigan, they were all struggling with the same thing. And in my time there, I also traveled throughout the country and would ask people, and they would say the same thing. We need some sort of a resource. We need, and so it was through Michigan State that I met a gentleman by the name of Brian Wynn. He was a computer genius. And, I said to him, okay, help me do this. Help me be able to put sign language in everybody's, the palm of their hand. Everyone's using phones now. Let's make this so that we can do that, or make a site on a website that then can be transferred into, or that type of thing. So Brian and I started working, and it wasn't shortly after that he fell in love with and married a beautiful woman that also then had great skills. And she took what we did and made it pretty, made it work so much better. And she was a graphic designer by nature. So it was really cool. So I by no means can take all the credit with any of this, because there's been many, many people that have gotten involved now. We also worked with Brenda Cartwright, who is a woman that ran the interpreter training program at Lansing Community College. And through her help, we have been able to fine tune and get things where they need to be and involve more people. We also have a board of directors now that like an advisory board. Those are all deaf people, and they're throughout the country as well as Canada. And so they're our go-to people that we ask when we're saying, what about this? Should we do this? We're adding new signs. What should they be? What are you seeing in your part of the world, and that type of thing. So it's been a labor of love, but it's really turned out to be something that we're real proud of.
Well, and I love that you brought up Brenda and that you have this board to kind of confer with signs. That's one of the things that I really appreciate about Signing Savvy is how you have different signs, different variations of signs built into the website. So tell us that process. How do you identify all the different signs in the different regions, and how do you kind of hone in on that for the website?
Well, and that's a difficult thing too, because sometimes we will have people that say, that's not how we sign it in our area, and that type of thing. And that's where our board comes in too. And we look at it and say, okay, because we kind of strategically found people that were in different parts of the country. And so we will ask them, hey, have you seen this? And is this done a little bit differently? We like to look to Washington, D.C., of course, because that's, the hub of all things deafness and college and that type of thing. So even like with the more recent, Black Lives Matter, we see different people signing it different way. You might see it that it's Black lives are important, that's one thing. Then you also see, as our interpreter just did, Black Lives Matter, So we look at both of those and go, wow, we really should probably put both of them on the website. But we look to people's opinions about that and try to find articles about that and what it is that's going to make it to the website. But we're not hesitant to be able to put, if it's founded that that's enough people out there using that sign, we will stick it on. It'll just be a variation of the sign that we put up there.
Yeah, I love that you offer that. And we've got a number of people tuning in, and I just want to show you that we do have Lisa right now who says, "Hi John, fellow Spartan here. I just missed your tenure there and was lucky enough to be under Dr. David Stewart. So sad the teacher prep program doesn't exist anymore. You all tried your best to survive. I believe Brenda even observed my student teaching once upon a time." So cool. We've got Lisa watching today. Thank you, Lisa. She's now in New York. Oh, and she's saying that the sign in New York for garbage is the Michigan sign for lettuce. Yep. Yeah, I have seen. Yep. Awesome. Well, I'm so excited just to really be able to dig into Signing Savvy, because as I've been saying, it's so much more than just an ASL dictionary. So why don't you go ahead and give us a tour? And I'm going to put it on the stream here. And for those of you who are tuning in, feel free to ask questions, and I will help moderate and facilitate that as we go. But just feel free to interact and ask questions. This website is pretty cool what all you can do. Now, especially, well, for anybody who's learning, but if you are a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, as John had shared, he kind of created this with the intent of being able to support parents in being able to communicate with their children. So if you are a teacher of the deaf and hard of hearing, I think you're going to be really excited to see the different ways that this supports families. And if you're a family member, for you, how it can really influence your signing and support you in being able to communicate with your children. So I've got the screen shared. We can see the website. Go ahead.
So the one thing I want to point out right away is, because some people get confused about this, is once you're signed in, okay, once you're a member, it will tell you, welcome John Miller, and then it'll say you're currently a full member. That's important because some people will get on later and then call our help desk and say, well, we can't see this and we can't see that and that type of thing. And we always say, well, make sure that you're signed in. Okay, you've got to make sure that you're up there and that your name's up there, and then that'll give you access to all these other things. Okay, these tabs across the front, the top, those are important because they lead you to a lot of different really interesting things. Okay, this up here is important because that's your home page. That's how you get back to this home spot. Anytime you're off doing other things, if you just click up here, it's always going to bring you back to this home page. Okay.
And let me just interject really quickly, because you said if you're a member, you have to be a member. If you're not yet a member, don't worry. We're going to hook you up and you're going to be able to become a member. But we're going to come to that in a little bit.
Okay. This area right here is just where you can type in words and it'll pop up and show you how to sign those words. So that's another important area. Okay. This down here is one of the important areas to this sign of the day. And as a teacher, I love this because there's so much you can learn from just this area of the sign of the day. And we'll go to that right now and show you. So just by clicking on the link, the sign of the day comes up. It'll tell you what the sign or what the day is and the date that we've picked this. But then remember, Stephanie, how you said there's sometimes different variations and you love the fact that those were up there. That's what these things right here mean, this ASL1, ASL2, ASL3. And what we're saying is, well, this is what we feel the most popular use of this sign is. Okay, so for the word cell phone, that's the most popular. But there's also this. Okay, cell phone. There's also this, cell phone. Okay, so any of those three are going to be signs that are out there and that are acceptable. But we're going to go back to the first one, and I'm going to show you the other things that are a part of this whole sign of the day feature. So once you're here, you're going to see a play button that kind of goes, and you can slow it down, you can make it faster, you can make it slower, you can make it bigger or smaller in your screen. Okay, so there's a lot of different options there for people with different vision, that type of thing. But then there's also what is being signed. It's the word cell phone. Is it an ASL sign? Yes. Why does it say that? Because sometimes it'll say it's an English sign or something like that. There are a few on here that are English signs. Then it'll give you a sign description. So it tells you how to sign it, and a memory aid. That's something to help you remember how it is that it's signed. The sign is used to say cell phone. And then this is a really cool feature. This is a English sentence. So basically we take an English sentence and we put it in ASL Gloss. And just by clicking on this, you're going to be able to see Brenda Cartwright signing. Here's what the sentence is at the top in English. I take my cell phone everywhere. But then at the bottom, it says, my cell phone, I bring everywhere. And I use this a lot with my parents and my students that are learning ASL to be able to tell them, this is how things are put into Gloss. And if you just do the sign of the day every day, not only are you going to be learning more vocabulary, but you're going to be going to the sentence of the day, and you're going to slowly kind of get how it is that an English sentence is glossed into ASL, put into ASL, okay? So it gives you some more things there. Pay no attention to the bottom. That's my administrative stuff. But then some of these links, when you get down to the sentences as well, these will be blue. Each one of these words will be blue. And if they are blue, that means you can click on each one of those words and see them separately signed out to you. If you're watching the sentence and you just can't get what she's saying, and you're like, I can't put it all together, I'm not that fluent of a signer, I want to see it broke down, you can do that if these are blue links, and many of them are, okay? So that's basically the sign of the day and all the features that we have on there. And like I said, I do a lot with that, just being able to say to my parents, go on, figure out what the sign of the day is with your children, and then come back and tell me what it is, what it was for each day of the week, Monday through Friday. How many of those were new to you? How many of those are ones that you've known before? How many of those are you struggling with? And the coolest thing too is you can say, on one part of it, you can add the word to your word list, and we'll talk about those a little bit more later too. But there's a way to be able to add these to your word list. So if it's a word of the day that comes up that you're like, I don't know that word and I want to add it to my word list, if you have word lists created, you can do that. And then that automatically just goes right into where your word lists are, okay?
And John, I remember also you had told me that you got your students involved in teaching their families the word of the day.
Exactly. So sometimes I'd assign my students and say, you're going to go home and you're going to do, Monday, you're going to do Tuesday, you're going to do Wednesday. And then I'd say, come back with like 2 other words or 3 other words that are similar to that. So like, let's say this one. So for cell phone, it looks like this. I would say, is there other signs that are similar to that? When you showed that to your mom and dad, did they say that looks like, and if they said, yeah, it looks like home maybe, or it looks like bed, or it looks like, so the kids would come back and we'd have this kind of playful back and forth with the language to be able to come up with other words that are very similar to, but not quite the same as what the sign of the day was. So there's a ton that you can do just with this feature alone. And that feature is free. That's something that's out there for anybody to use. Everyone can get the sign of the day free on their laptop, computer, or on your cell phone app. Any of those are covered on a free thing. The other important part that we're going to talk about is the blogs here. Okay, so the blog that's up currently is just because we're doing a promotion for the 4th of July. And I think today actually is the last day for that sale. But it's a 25% off the membership. So it's actually a really good deal for you guys. Even better than the teacher sale that we have going on right now. That's 20% off. But that one is right there. That's why that blog is there. The other thing that's really important is this area down here where it has these article tags, because what these are actually old blogs. They're blogs that go and they fall under these different categories. So if you were to just keep scrolling through, you would go through all of these, but it would take forever and a day to do that. So what we've done is organize them for you in different categories, okay? So one of the first ones that we can look at is this top one, close but not the same. And again, Stephanie, stop me if there's other areas or if people are writing in with questions where they want to look at things. This close but not same is a really cool set of articles that Brenda Cartwright created, and they're basically a bunch of signs that are close but not the same. They're very similar, okay? And let's go to one, let's see, we'll go down to the bottom here and go to number 4. So I'm gonna open these up. Once you're in them, it gives you a little brief explanation of what they are, and then you're also gonna see the signs. So one of the first ones is open versus closed. Okay, a lot of new signers confuse those, and so it's gonna show you why it is that open looks like this, closed look like that. Love versus hug, okay? And they're subtle, they're very subtle differences, but it shows you the difference between them, okay? Ice skate versus roller skate. And you can click on these and make them bigger. Remember how I told you that we could do that? So you can click on each one and make it larger. If you're like, I can't see why the difference was there, but that shows you the difference between ice skate, roller skate, okay? This is a whole series that we have. There's 13 different sets of those. So let's say you were teaching a sign language class, whether it's to parents, whether it's to hearing people, whatever it is that you know, deaf kids, whatever. You've got basically, if you did one of these sets a week, you have 12 weeks of sets of these close but not the same features that are on there that are all under this tag, okay?
I love that. I love that. What about you guys who are watching? What do you think of that close but not the same? Isn't that a fantastic feature for families and for kids to even talk about and share, and for your sign language classes? I'm curious so far if the word of the day, or if the close but different, if either one of those is kind of triggering you, like, oh, I can use this in different ways. And if so, go ahead and comment, share with us what you're thinking and how this is inspiring you.
Okay, I'll move on while we talk about that, because this is one that really excites me. I loved when I was a teacher of young children and all the way up to do cooking lessons with my kids. So if you look, there's a tag here that says Cooking Up with Language. It's going to take you to an article that was written back in 2019, and then there's another one here in 19, okay? And what I tried to do is make it a lesson that's going to go along with a piece of literature, okay? Everything that I did had to go do with some sort of literature. So because I would start the activity with that type of thing and then say, oh, what can we do, you know, with this? So this was monkey bread. Who doesn't love monkey bread? Okay, so you made monkey bread after you read Five Little Monkeys, and I would make a word list of this. Now let me back up for just a minute, because I want to explain what word lists are. Up here, these 3 buttons, okay, they're Signing Savvy word lists, that are word lists that we've made and like we've approved, and they're up there by us for everybody to use, but they're like Signing Savvy official, okay? Then there's also my word list. Now my word list is me, John Miller. I made up these word lists. And so they're different ones that I've made, whether it's because I'm working with the client, whether it's because I'm working with a certain classroom of kids, whatever. These are my specific ones that are made for me. And then there are shared lists. Shared lists are ones that have anybody that's been on the site that has been a member and wanted to create a list could create their shared list and then say, here, I'm going to put this out there for everyone to use, okay? And you can use it or you can not. You can create your own if you want to. But what I did was, with this book, was I created this Signing Savvy book, Five Little Monkeys, Jumping on the Bed, and then made a word list that goes along with it, okay? So after we look at this a little bit, we'll go into the word list. But in this little blog, it tells you, gives you some examples of how to make it, shows you some pictures, things like that to show to the kids, to excite the kids, that type of thing. Actually gives you the recipe, okay? With the recipe, anything that's blue is a link, okay? So it's going to show you how to sign 20. It's going to show you how to sign minutes, all right? Bananas, can, all that stuff. Anything that has the blue highlights there shows you that that's a link to a word, okay? But what it's going to also do then is say, I hope that the monkey bread word list, you'll feel confident, because that's what happens a lot of times as our parents. It's not that they don't want to read to their kids, it's that they're not confident in their signing. But by going through a word list beforehand and being able to look at the book, look at the word list, learn the word list, then when that book comes home from school, they can sit down and do it. So I would send home the link a week or two before the book came home and say, hey, this is going to be your book that's going to be coming to you soon. Go over this word list, look at it, start practicing it, because once the book comes, then I want you to read it with your kids and tell me about your experience, okay? So let's click on this word list and show you what it looks like. So here's the picture again. Here is the ingredients and the recipe. And then right here are the different word lists. Now these got even more divided up, okay? You can keep them all together in one, or you can divide them up by ingredients, measurements, tools that you're going to use while you're making them, directions like bake, and cut, and all those type of things, okay? Every one of these links right here goes to a sign. And you can simply even just go through it and look at them, like the sign for banana, okay? Just like the sign of the day, it's going to look like that. It's going to show you. And then you're going to have all these other features down here about it, right? But if you simply just want to go through the list of words, you just go to this arrow up here and you just click. And you're just going to keep clicking. The next one's biscuit. It's going to show you how to do the biscuits, how to sign it. Okay, you can go right through that word list. And you'll see there's 49 words on that word list that go along with that book and go along with that cooking activity for making monkey bread. Okay? Now, let's say I want to do this. I want to actually quiz myself on these, okay? I'm getting this book. I'm a parent. I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about, okay? So I'm going to go here, and it says create a quiz or create flashcards, okay? Either one of these are going to be like a quizzing tool for you to use to test yourself on the vocabulary that comes from that word list. The word lists are the key. In order to test yourself and quiz yourself, you've got to have a word list made up that you're using. Okay, it's going to ask you a few questions beforehand. Specify the signs that they come from the word list. Do you want them to be sign, match sign to meaning, match meaning to sign, fill in the blanks? I like to have a variety, so I can leave all of those checked. And then I say words only. You can have them words with images because sometimes there's little graphic images that go along with them, right? And instead of having all 48, I'm just going to, for the sake of time with us, say we're going to go through 3. Okay, so I'm just going to say 3 of them. You can even pick your video speed, okay, and your video size. And then you can say start the quiz. And what's going to happen is this is going to pop up and it's going to say, now this one is going to be a multiple choice. I can tell just by the way it's because it says up here, which sign below means minutes. Well, we look at that one. Is that minutes? Nope. Is that one minutes?
John, I think your screen froze. We're not seeing the signs.
Oh, shoot.
So maybe let's do, let me try something. All right, let me try adding it again. See if we can put it back up here.
It might be just because I'm going through you now to be able to do that. And so the videos are taking longer to, you know what I mean, to go through like.
Oh, sure.
Says. I won't spend a lot of time on this, then I can go back. But basically, it's going to give you the videos for each one of these words, and you have to pick out which one it is. And if we weren't going through my computer and then Stephanie's StreamYard and all that, probably not a problem. But. So
we do have a question from somebody, and the question is, do parents need to be members to access the word lists?
Okay, parents can access the word list and see it. They just can't manipulate it and do as much with it. It's really is a tool that's meant to be used in conjunction with you as the teacher and the parent together. So I've had several teachers do a lot of different creative things with it. Sometimes there's like PTO money where they'll buy a chunk of membership. So they'll buy a membership for the teacher and so many memberships for their parents to use. And it's just a yearly renewal type thing, and they do it that way. Okay. That's how you can get on and get discounted rates, because the more people that sign up using like your email address, the teacher's email address, then the teacher ends up getting a free membership. So it's like a build upon thing like that, where it helps to be that way. It definitely is made so that the teacher and the parents or the home situation has membership as well. Now, your home membership doesn't mean that it's only you that can use it. It's anybody in your household that can use it at any computer at any time, you know, on your phone, whatever. What's going to happen is if you were to give it out to 25 other people and they all get on at that same time, it'll shut the people down. After only the first one that's on there can stay on there, the rest of them get booted off of it. So it is definitely something where you want a parent to have a membership separate from the teacher. It can't be the teachers and parents all share, or one classroom shares one membership. Does that make sense?
And what about the shared lists? It seemed like if you created and I know we'll talk, you're going to dig into a little bit more about the list, but when you have a list that is shared and you send that to parents, then
Yep.
that would be something that they could access.
Yeah, they can access that. They can, you can, now can you see my screen again?
We can, yes.
Okay. So yeah, so any of these, I just clicked on shared. So these are in like lists that other people have made, and you can see basically it just has their first name that created this. But then if I share this link with you, you guys can all open it, you can access it. It's just that you can't use it for like quizzing and stuff like that. You can use it to look at it and work your way through the signs, but you can't create your own flashcards or word lists with it. Okay.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you.
So again, to get back to the homepage, you always just click back up here on that Signing Savvy up in the top. It's going to take you back to the main page and take you back to all of these different features here. Okay. A few more of these feature things. We just spent time with the Close But Not the Same and the cooking. The deaf culture is another one that's a great feature, because what this does is then leads you to blogs that are about all different deaf people. Okay. Famous race car drivers, stunt women, artists, poets, lots of different things that way. So again, if I was teaching a beginning sign class, or even working with, let's say, higher, elementary, middle school, high school kids, and they're needing to do a project about a deaf person, they can access Signing Savvy and just be able to go through this and look through the many people that are on here. Okay, and it keeps going. There's 4 pages already, and we keep adding more and more to it all the time. Okay, so that's another feature about deaf culture. And I don't know about you guys, but when I teach a sign class to anybody, I make them have to learn about deaf culture as well through learning about deaf people. So that's one of the features there. Deaf blind, there's articles and things about deaf blindness and access to that type of information. These right here, Dear BC, Interpreter 411, and Interpreter Q&A, and Interpreter Tips. I guess there's 4 of them. Those all really focus on interpreter stuff. And so let's go to the Dear BC. Okay, this is Brenda Cartwright again. She writes different articles about, I'm sorry, there's ambulance.
There's sirens.
When you live downtown, you get it all. Yeah, but so these are basically different articles that are really great articles about interpreting. So maybe you've got people that are interested in that, or maybe just your professional staff. So if you need to kind of sell this to your administration, you can say, look, we would really like a website or permission to be able to purchase memberships to this website, because it can do professional development for my professionals that are in my school, as well as parent teacher stuff back and forth. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do. And our interpreters that we hear from love this. They love Brenda. They love all the information that she has shared with them over the years and continues to share with them now through Signing Savvy. So it's a lot of different stuff that talks about, and even let's say you're having an issue with an interpreter that might be, kind of sometimes not doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing and stuff. So you can talk to them about, well, there's this article about their reputation and what, how you need to do that, or confidentiality, or healthcare, and keeping yourself in, your best possible shape while you're also burning the candle at both ends, and all these type of things. So she's done a great job at a lot of different articles that cover the span of everything. Okay. Right down to what to pack in your interpreter bag. And she made this really cool article, and it has a graphic that goes along with it that just shows all the different stuff that people, to take with you in your bag that you have on deck, that type of thing. So those are interpreter things. There's general interest articles that just have to do with basic, sign language, deafness, whatever, anything that basically is on the site. Some of them you're going to see repeated again from other categories. Okay. You're going to see learning tips. Those are for parents usually, or people who are learning sign, all right, beginning signers. Again, you're going to see some of the Close But Not the Sames in there. But then you're also going to see things like this, okay? This is my favorite, another one of my favorites, because along with the cooking comes the children's books. You can't tell I was an early childhood educator, huh? But all my master's work was in early childhood. And that's what blends into this stuff here, the Signing children's books. So these are books I've gone through, and I'm trying to get the top 100 children's books done into word lists for everyone to use, and then move on from there. So we're working our way through, and you can see there's 10 different things here that all are that we've covered so far, with so many books per page. but we're still working on them. We're still adding more and more to them all the time. But those children's books are going to be in these Savvy lists, okay, or in the My List. If you look at this one, it'll say book. It'll say that it's a signing Savvy list. It'll say chocolate mousse for dinner, okay, or something along that line. My list, I'll just go to those just because I'm more familiar with exactly where those are, but you can find them too. Once I go to my list, I can see this is a book that I actually teach out of down here, okay, ASL at Work, as well as Signing Naturally is another book. So even if you use other ASL books, you can use Signing Savvy as your partner that goes along with those books so that the people have something more than just this flat surface of a book to look at. They can look at a word list that's been created that moves, that they can then have on their phone as an app to test themselves on, that type of thing. But I wanted to show you something I did with this children's book, okay? So this children's book is actually this book, okay, right here. So after I made my word list of the words, the signs that were in this book, okay, I went through and I printed those signs out, okay? Now, it's a little bit old school because you have to go through the whole, printing and that type of thing. But then you take them and you cut them out, and I took contact paper and just stuck them right in the book. So these are those hard, cardboard books for kids, but the signs are right there with them. So the sign for A is there, and then apple and angel. The sign for B is there, and then the sign for bus. Sign for C is there, and then the sign for clown. So I basically took their book and added signs to it because we can do that now, right? So this is a cardboard book that I, by using the word list feature, created a word list, and then went in and printed out all the signs that go along with it, all right, through this feature, view and print. And I would do it for you, but my printer, I tried it today, and it only is printing in black and white. And so I'm African-American in it, and it doesn't look pretty. So it really made a big mess. So I decided not to use the printer today to show you all. But basically, you can see through this. Can you see this pretty well if I hold this up?
So when you print it, it actually prints a picture of the sign. So that's kind of like the old school where we were cutting out the books and we're putting it on the copy machine and then we're copying that. Yeah. So this is just the print, and then you've got the whole word list for the whole book ready to go. And then you can just send that home or even attach it to the book. I just love that. So neat. So yeah, that's basically kind of the gist of that and the word lists, the way that you can go along and do that. You could add bookmarks to things. You can add, like I said, you can add these word lists to yours, like signs from these word lists. You could actually add to a different word list if you want to, if it's ones that you're struggling with or things like that. You can make different, okay? So again, going back to that home page, it's always going to be up here that takes you back to that home page. That's how you're going to find all these different things that you work with over here, okay? But then if you're just saying, I'm just going on it because I want to look up a few signs, then you're going to type them in here. You're going to type in single words or phrases to here. And then it's going to come up, it's going to show you how to sign them. So it looks like I looked up hot dog and dog up there a little bit ago. So it's just going to show you how to sign them. Now, people will say, well, I typed in a whole phrase there and it came up, kind of different. The thing you've got to remember is it is going to be a little disjointed by just typing in a phrase up here, because the computer is just going in and plucking out a sign there. And so you're not going to actually see it like an ASL word order, or you're not going to see it, which words do I leave out? And so it'll have like the is's and the r's and the was and the were, those type of things in there. And I don't want by any means for people to think, oh, it's got, it's making us do things in English. No, you did that because you typed in a sentence that had those letters in it, and it doesn't have the capability to drop them out of it, okay? It will come on and ask you if you want to drop those words out or change those, but it won't necessarily drop them for you, okay? Again, the best way for you to work on sentences is to go up here to the top again, okay? Click on the sentence tab, and then you're going to go down, you're going to pick a category, okay? And family, amounts, animals, entertainment, whatever. You're going to click on family, let's say, and then it's going to give you a list of sentences. See, there's quite a few of them here. And you get to click on them and say, okay, well, I want to look at
if it says the English sentence is, my sister's having another baby, how would I sign that in ASL? And you're going to see again, Brenda signing it. Here's the English, my sister's having another baby. Here's the gloss, another baby, my sister born Will. Okay. And you're going to be able to see how I said down here, how each one of them is a link. Each one of those, if you're like, I don't know where she signed sister in there, I don't know what the sign is for sister, you can click on that and it'll take you to just the sign for sister. Okay.
So neat. Really cool.
All right, there was something else that popped into my head while we were doing this. What was it? Oh, along this tab, okay, finger spelling. How many of us love finger spelling, right? I say that in jest because that's usually my beginning students' things that they hate the most is finger spelling. Well, there's a whole finger spelling area here. First of all, there's a printable that you can go. This you can click on. You can make it big, and it's a nice, beautiful document. That did you see that? Did that come up for you?
Yeah, we can see it. It looks great.
So that's a nice document that you guys can print out and use in your classrooms and pass out to your people and all that kind of stuff. But then this tool on its own is just amazing because you can go in, you can do finger spelled lists or words, you can speed them up, slow them down, that type of thing, and just play around with finger spelling. And it kind of takes some of the fear out of, you know, learning how to finger spell. And then you can make quizzes and flashcards with that as well. And there's other printable posters of the alphabet. This area also will take you to all the other printables we have. So we have not only the alphabet, but we've got numbers, we've got colors, we've got alphabet that's kind of like fun for littler, that's not even a word, little children, small children, with, you know, the little fun ABCs there. There are some real colorful ones here with fruit and colors that go along with that. Red, purple, orange. Okay, so if you're wanting to teach kids about health and nutrition and, you know, that it's good to eat different colors and a colorful diet. Right? These are all different printables that you have access to as well that you can use and share. Here's an example of a recipe too. Okay, so these are fruit pops, appropriate for summer. It gives you, again, the links that are going to be on there are going to be words that would light up. All right, but this shows you basically a recipe, and then you can direct your parents to say, okay, go on to Signing Savvy, and there's a word list for frozen fruit pops that they can go in and learn all these signs. Make sure that they know them and make them at home with their kids. So yeah, that finger spelling tab, that numbers tab, those are in there too. They basically do the same thing. Sentences, right? Articles are basically going to be these again down that we have on the, oops, if I go to the home page. Those are all those different blog articles. Okay.
So John, we do have a question, and I want to go back to the children's stories. We've got Carol who is asking if the children's books are signed or if it's just a vocabulary.
It's just a vocabulary list. So it's lists of vocab that goes along with. So if you go back to my lists here, they will be down under books. And basically it's just the book itself that's a shared list for you then to go in. Now what this list is going to be signed. So you can go through and look at how it is that they're signed. See, so it's, I guess, yeah. I don't know what she's saying. Is she saying, am I sitting there reading the book and signing the book? No,
right. Not that. That's the question, is if the book is all
not signed. The book isn't signed. It's giving you the ammunition to be able to, this is how I sign Bear. This is how I sign that type of thing. Okay.
Well, and what's so great about this is you can create your own book list. So do we have a chance, John, that we can even just kind of go through and create our own vocabulary list, and we can show how easy that is?
Sure. So we're going to go to my lists, okay? Because I'm the one that's logged in here. I'm the one that's using it. So it's going to show up under mine, but we'll try to make it. So once you're here at my list, it's going to say right here, create new list. So I'm going to click on that. We're going to come up with what the title of our list is. So what's our title of our book or whatever? What is it that you want to call this book?
So, well, let's do in the signing room. We always have topics of the week, conversation starters of the week. And so I've got that on my mind. We could make this the list. Next week's conversation is the worst advice you ever got.
Okay, so I'm going to say topic of week, worst advice ever. Okay, that's how I'll do it, so that's what you would think of when you find it. Okay, and then in the description part, I'm going to say this is a list of words associated with the topic of the week. For what? Now, where do you use this in? The signing room?
The signing room. Mm-hmm.
Signing.
That is the online itinerant sign language immersion program where we just get together and chat and sign and build our vocabulary and build our skills. So we can just do a couple.
The list, the title, the description, and then we're going to add some words in here. So give me some words that might pop up while you're talking about worst advice.
So advice.
Advice. And you just hit return after every one. So it makes it just spaces them all going down.
Worst.
Worst.
Then we can say bad. Idea. Agreed.
I'm just going to say agree, because I think by putting the D in, that's the thing sometimes too. As you play around with this, it might be like, let's say worst might not come up, but worse might come up. Okay. You might have to play around with the words a little bit as you're entering it, but we'll see how it pops up.
Sure.
Keep
going. And then that's just for the sake of time. That's opinion. Lisa's saying opinion.
Spell that right? OPINION. Yeah. Okay. All right, so now we're going to say here, you can do it, display it alphabetically. You can display it custom. Custom is basically going to default to the way they're typed in. So if you do it that way, if I'm like typing in the book brown bear, I usually want them to come up the way that they're presented in the book, the order that they're presented in the book. But if you're one of those people that likes it alphabetically, then leave it alphabetically. But I chose custom here. And then I'm making it so that it's open to members. And that's where you would do it, whether it's going to be a shared list, a private list, unlisted list. Unlisted means it's not necessarily private, but it's not listed up there where everybody can see it. The person would have to go in and really look for it and type in the exact title or enter the link that you give them. Okay. I'll make this a shared list. Okay, so we're going to put share. And then I'm going to say create list. That easy, it's going to come across and it's going to say the following words were added to your word list as signs. So we looked out, every one of those are in there as signs, okay? And it shows them on there. If they weren't, if for some reason they're not in our sign dictionary or you had to play around with them a little bit, you'd have to go back and it would say the other ones are going to be finger spelled, because as a default, it just finger spells anything that there's not a sign for, okay? So we're going to go back to manage our word list, and you're going to see each of your words that you typed in there are going to come up here. Advice, worst, bad, idea, agree, and opinion. Now see over here how it gives you, it says advice, and then there's an arrow down. It's going to say, do you want it like that or do you want it finger spelled? If there's another option, okay, maybe there's going to be another option for something. Worse, there's not another option. Bad, look, it says version 1, version 2. So what you can do is you can go to bad and you can see, well, let me look at bad, and I want to see if it's the one I want, which one I want. Do I want this one, where she's like bringing it right down and slapping it on the other hand? Or am I doing bad? See how I just don't have it slapped on the hand? So which one of those did you think you wanted?
Well, let's do number 2. Let's do your version.
Okay. So as I'm going back to manage that word list again, I'm going to go down to bad and I'm going to say version 2. And you see what I'm talking about? This takes the guesswork out of, oh, well, what do they want? Because before, as parents, they all looked at the book and went, oh, it's this way or it's this way. And they teach their kids, and then their kids fight and say, that's not how the teacher did it. Or that, so it takes that all away. Okay. So but the rest of them are pretty much there. You can view and choose your variations by clicking on there as well if you want to, rather than click on there, either way. But then once it's all there and ready to go, if there's anything else that you think of and you go, oh wait, I got to add a couple more words, you put them on there and you do add words. Otherwise, if you're ready to go, you just go back to that list and, oops, sorry. Let's see, I'm going to show one more. We'll put happy. We'll just add, so it shows you if I add one more. And let's say, are you sure you want to add that to the word list? And I say, yep. And then it's going to take me back to manage that word list. Okay. And we're saying, yep, this is what we want. This is the list that we want. They're all right there. Okay. Everything's there. And now all I have to do, it automatically saves it for you. So all I have to do is go back to my lists. And I'm going to scroll down to topic. Now I've got quite a few lists, so it makes me dizzy looking at all these. But we'll go back down to, I'll show you how it shows up there. Topic, okay. Click on it. There it is. There's my word. Okay.
And you know, something that just occurred to me, when you're working with students who are in classes, maybe social studies classes or science classes, you can create a whole vocabulary list for them that would provide the signs so that they could have that vocabulary for them for those classes too.
Exactly. And that's
I love it.
What I wanted was that take that guesswork out, be able to have these word lists ahead of time, but then maybe prepare them some with the kids, because it's great to sit down with your students and say, okay, you know, what do we need to add to this? What are things that maybe they don't, you know, understand that word, or it's not a part of their vocabulary. But then now you've got this list, you can check on it by just clicking on it. That's going to take you through them. Advice, you're going to see up here, it's 1 of 7. So the next one, worse. Okay, next one, bad. All right, so there's your word list.
All right there. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
You can just go through them, or you can quiz yourself on them, flashcards yourself. And it's fun because then the kids can, like I said, sit down with their parents and say, okay, I know all these words, but do you know them? And they have to.
Yeah, the quiz feature is really neat.
Yeah.
And the flashcard feature, that's neat. So, okay, so this and the creating a list is a member's benefit. Sharing a list, you can share it outside of members.
Right.
So anybody can view the list, but if you are a member, then you get the added features of being able to be quizzed on it and have flashcards. Let's talk about membership. Like, what does membership mean, and what is it? Let's just talk about that.
Okay. I clicked so I can get, basically membership is a fee. If there's no other specials or things like that going on, it's $49.95 a year is what our membership is. And that's per teacher kind of thing. So teacher, student, that type of thing. So if you have, your average classroom of, 5 kids or whatever, 6 kids, and then the teacher, you would want to purchase like 6 memberships, unless there's some that are in the same household or things like that. Membership at that normal price works out to be $4.17 a month, 13 cents a day. Okay. Right now there is a special going on where someone can sign up as the teacher. So you can go in, if you go through the blog and read, and if you see back at the home page, maybe I'll go back to here for a second. So if you go back to this home page, over on the side, you'll see this teacher special going on for free membership for teachers. Okay. What you can do as a teacher is you can go in and sign up for this. All right. It's going to ask for your email address, your supervisor, that type of thing, just to give us a verification of what schools are using us and where at, that type of thing. But then you say, well, I've got about 12 people that I think would benefit from this. And so I'm going to put down that it's, I have a class size of like 12. What your hope is that then those 12 people will go in and sign up at 20% off. And for each person that signs up using your email address, you get credit. And I think it only takes like 6 in order for you to be get a full year's membership. It's like 6 to 10, something like that. I have to check and see for sure. But you as a teacher, every time people then sign up underneath you, you get more and more credit. And so we've had teachers that have had memberships for years because the students just keep renewing, their membership type thing. So that's one way to get Signing Savvy for a cheaper price. That brings it down to $39.96 a year, $3.33 a month, or a little over 10 cents a day. Okay. But then right now, today is the last day of this sale, and this is a 25% off sale. And so that's even more off. And it's just, you use this promo code Independence 2020. Now that only applies to year memberships or 3-year memberships, or all you can buy with that. You can buy as little as a 1-month membership for $9.95. But that ends up costing a lot. I mean, some people do it and then they end up signing up again and again, and it ends up costing them a lot in the long run. So I don't recommend that. My students down here from the colleges that I teach, they sign up for semester memberships, and you can do that as well. So it's like a 4-month membership, and that's like I think it's $24.95 for a 4-month membership. So if the full year commitment, kind of scares you or something like that, try the other. You can, just by signing up for a trial, get like 3 or 4 days for free that you can try it and just see what you think and go through it that way. But I highly suggest just that, this sale, I'm glad that we got in contact when we did, because this sale that we do right now only happens at the 4th of July and at Thanksgiving. We have a Black Friday sale that we do, and that's the lowest it ever goes, with the 25% off. Other than that, it's always going to be the $49.95, or like when we do the teacher specials right now.
Well, and what is it? All that is included in your membership. So you get the printables, you get the word list, you get all of this stuff, especially right now. And Lisa just commented that it's so cool to earn a membership, since we don't know what budgets are going to look like in the fall. But the other thing that we don't know is how we're going to be working with students. Are we going to be online? And this really allows you to be digital and support some virtual needs and
Right.
so forth. And I do have a question from Carol, who says, what if families can't afford a membership?
Okay. And Carol, that's the one option too that I wanted to talk to you about. So there is another option out there where you can go to your local library. Okay. We do have a libraries program where you can go as a teacher, or the parents can go and just say, is there any opportunity for, the libraries? A lot of times there's local libraries that have federal funds that they can use for things like this. And a library membership for as low as $500, they can get like a 1,500 seat thing with that. So students that belong to a certain community, and we've had a lot of schools, elementary schools, that have been, maybe they go to their local library on a weekly basis or things like that, or they're running a program where they're trying to get kids back into the library system and be able to, use. Now, before COVID, this wasn't, an issue. But so we've had a lot of families that have gone to their libraries and asked, and then the libraries contact us and say, we've been told that, this is a great program, that we want to do this. And so it's good for the libraries to be able to offer this. It doesn't mean you have to go to the library to access it. You just have to be a patron of that library. You have to set up an account with that library. But then once you do it, your site will look just like any other Signing Savvy site. It's just at the top, it might say Pinellas County Public Library Signing Savvy. And then you sign in and you do everything just the same way as you would if you had your own paid membership at home.
That's great. Are there group memberships? Like if a school district wanted to purchase for their families of the kids that they are servicing, is there anything like that districts can purchase?
Yes, you can go into membership, and you can just basically go anything up here where click this tab right there. That's membership, and you can go in and explore all the different opportunities for different ways that you can do membership. But you definitely can do that. That's another way where schools buy a certain amount of seats and things like that, and there is a discounted rate for that as well. So
great. I love it. How much did you say a year membership was? $39.99 right now?
With a 20% off, it's $39.95. With 25, you don't have to figure out. Now you're making me do math. $49.95 times 0.7. So it's $37.46 with the 25% off, which is what today the thing is. So $37 a year. But yeah, and we're adding more and more to the site all the time too. So, it'll be to the point where there's just so much opportunities for you. I can pretty much teach my courses that I teach at the university through Signing Savvy right now. Like I can just basically add links to our Angel page or our whatever type of web system that you use, and be able to have them read about a deaf person, practice their finger spelling, do their alphabet, do sentences. All of that can just be pluck right from there. And that's the way I do it with my students there. I require the students to have a membership to Signing Savvy, just like a professor would if they were to be teaching a course and they write a book. It's that same.
That's great. So the website, John, is signingsavvy.com, right?
No,
okay. So
Make
I
sure
just
you put signing.
that
You can put singing in there, and then it doesn't work. The way to
signing
get a hold of
savvy.
me would be John, John, at signingsavvy.com. That's the
Okay,
easiest way to get a hold of me.
great.
So I'd love to hear your questions, your comments, that type of thing, especially anybody of Spartans, former MSU, go green, go white. So yeah, I like to hear where you guys are all at and what's going on. And I like to hear from people who are using the site too. And, you know, as you get on and start using things and have questions, don't hesitate to send me a message.
So a last question before we wrap up is about this membership and getting libraries on board. The question is, would people contact their library to find out if they have an account, or do you have a list of libraries that already have subscriptions? How would somebody find out if a library is already participating or not?
I would contact your library and then say, you know, with the website, tell them this is Signing Savvy. Have you ever heard of it? That type of thing. And if they haven't, then have them get a hold of me at John at Signing Savvy or library at Signing Savvy and just send us a request. And basically they just say, can I have some information, you know, about, and it's basically based on their circulation. The number of people that they have that you know they're using their books. That's what. So granted, you know, San Francisco Public Library is going to be much more expensive than you know a tiny you know little library, but we work with them too. And so even if it's a library that's a bigger library that after they've even used Signing Savvy for a few years, they have a smaller pocket of people that are using it. We adjust their pricing and stuff like that so that we don't want it to be that it's a ripoff for anybody. We want it to be that people are using it and having you know a lot of help and that type of thing. So definitely go to your library, tell them to get a hold of us, and we can work with them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, John. And for those of you who are watching, if you do you see anything that you think I could totally use this would be helpful? We would love your insight, your ahas, your thoughts. And just, I know that I have really enjoyed using your word list options for working in the signing room. And I will definitely be using it in the fall when I'm working with students and giving them a vocabulary list, doing the, you know, I get a lot of stuff off of Teachers Pay Teachers, and I create a lot of my own materials, and I spend a lot of time, and it's all there. It's all right here in Signing Savvy. So definitely a great resource. Great. So I just thank you very much for giving us the tour and for sharing all of this information with us.
You're very welcome. I'm glad our technology worked, and I think yeah. Well. So I never knew what to do with my hands. It's hard to not.
I know, it's great to have that interpreter there too. Yeah. All right. Well, we're getting lots of people thanking you, and it's a comment. I love the children's books. You got some Go Spartan comments earlier. You'll have to go back and check out the feed. We've got some great information here. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in today, and we will have more information that supports you as families and professionals through the online itinerant. So take care, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.